I don't know if you can hear me. Whoops. I don't know if you can hear me pretty well or not. There's going to be road noise. I'm driving home from work. And so but we all have to do work on our stuff. And that just whatever the stuff is mostly irrelevant. It's a combination of the challenges that we have and wanting to meet them and asking T&O for help. That's the only solution that there is to everyone's problems, actually. They can't be a phony asking. They know. They know where we're at. They know that we don't even know where we are. Because it's not about measuring uh, other people measuring us, those that are in their own way giving their lives to TNO. I mean, if you think about them a lot and you want to hear their tapes and you want to understand them and you hear the things that you have trouble with and you are perhaps troubled that you're having trouble with it and so you want to try to understand it better and then you get some understanding of it and then you recognize that there's nothing troublesome there. And that happens over and over again. But a person has to to do it like anything, they have to want to do it. They have to want to do it. Now, this vehicle, this body that I'm wearing, was programmed. I programmed it using T&O's process to the best of my ability at the time. Uh, that's one of my problems, actually, that I thought I was doing things to the best of my ability. And T&O were acutely aware of all the ways that all the students were challenged. And they certainly learned them over time. It didn't take them that much time, I don't think. And the reason why that happened was because T and Do were witnessing to one another. They were witnessing to one another. And Jesus didn't have a physical witness except in that transfiguration. Two physical witnesses and a voice identifying himself as his father, which wasn't the first time that we've been informed about the next level actually having a voice that could be understood, as it happened also during the Moses experiment, part of the experiment. The experiment is how to cultivate the human animal condition, mammalian condition, into vehicles that can be open-minded to many things that has them seeking and uh, and then finding the pearl of great price, which is the pearl of the next level of information, and and recognizing that even though it challenges them, challenges us, and we can make all kinds of reasons, we can listen to all kinds of doubts, and which are fine, it's normal. Uh, but T and O are the only ones in the world that were in the world, but not part of it, in a literal sense, in many senses. Um, I know I'm rambling a bit here now. Sorry about that, but I think I need a drink of water. See, so I had left off in the previous one. I said this was going to be music, but I'm just going to go with you know, what happens. And there's that Thessalonians 2, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. So that's clearly references to Lucifer, and there's all kinds of um, associated references with that uh, that are easy to find, like in Revelation 12, um, where it talks about the dragon and the seven heads and the 10 horns, and I've talked about them over and over again, and how they align with uh, the seven poisonous beasts having 7 heads and 10 horns, and how D&O knew that that was, even though they didn't talk about that, those scriptures that I ever heard, um, uh, except for that one time where Doe um, called a meeting and said, "Bring your Bibles, any Bibles that you have." They weren't your Bibles anymore because everything was communal at that point. So we had a library where the Bibles were, and you could, take them in and do what you want with them. But if you have time to read them and stuff, then you know, uh, go after it. Anyway, so we went to that meeting, and and Doug said, "Well, turn it over. You can share because we didn't have that many. There were probably 30 something of us." And so Doe said, "Open it up till Revelation 12:1." And I'm not going to read that here now. I've read it many times. But it has to. But he said the woman in that verse uh, is T, and the footstool is Doe. He's in service to T, and he's also depicted as the moon. The moon is her footstool, and they probably have a Doe probably has a base on the moon, or he did at some point inside, and who knows what, because it was put into place for a reason. The next level are technical. That's why it's so fitting. You have entire documentaries about how the moon is such like a enigma in so many ways because of its exactness and size and things to accomplish, the showing of the seasons and the everything, with the eclipses and so forth. Anyway, I'm not, that good with all that astronomy, but I sure love it. But if any, if anyone does uh, want me to do their chart, their astrological chart, or do something with their chart, I'd be willing to do that, but I have to be able to afford to do it, to spend the time on it. So I do want, I do need actually ways of doing more next level work in whatever form that comes about than, just working, 10 hours a day. Even though I feel like I can make use of those 10 hours in our travel time that Kathy and I have, and and so we'll make a positive out of it. But anyway, that gets into more personal things. But uh, that verse where it's talking about in Thessalonians that I just read, 2:3, which is highlighted on the screen there, if you can see it. I don't know how good the signal is. But it's talking about, some people talk about that as this still needs to happen because they think of it as a person, right? So then you have all these people that are, some people probably saying that Trump is that person, and other people are saying that uh, Biden is that person. I don't know, the way they work each other, but or some other, figure in the world. The bottom line, I believe, from the next level perspective that I feel like I got from T and O that makes the most sense to me is uh, that none of the world leaders are exclusive hosts for the Luciferian space alien fallen angel souls. They use them for their agenda. That's why the Biden administration didn't give a hoot, in my opinion, for a lot of things because they kept on funneling money into projects, that they could call it this Green New Deal or whatever, they want to call it. It can be related to that. It's very keen terminology to use, and it comes from the Bible even, the green horse of the Revelation, which was mistranslated to be pale horse. Shows you where something about uh, the Bible was about Revelation wasn't interpreted or translated right. Well, there's a number of examples of that in which are translations that were poorly done, like the word beast, where one is a poisonous mammal and the other one it's a living being. A living being is something special in the next levels records they left. When Moses asked, "What should I tell the people your name is?" and he said, "I am." That's also saying I exist. I be. I. Well, I don't know. I be is part of that really, but I be must relate more to I. I manifest. I be. I'm a being, which is interesting because when you look at it that way, from that, I don't know if that's a legalistic way of abiding by pronunciation of terms and spelling of terms related to what you. Well, I think the terminology can develop. It does, I guess. It makes sense to me that terminology develops. I know I'm rambling again, but definitely need some water. That's a pullover. Colorado Drive. That's right. This is along the Colorado River area, I guess. Well, I'm probably still recording here. I'm just gonna have to just stop for a second. Well, it looks like I'm still recording here. Stay on 71. Stay on 71 East, 40 miles to Shaw's Band Road. And that's a Mr. Policeman who doesn't like me at all. I hope I don't even exist. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I was talking about that verse in Second Thessalonians, talking about the, uh, the son of perdition being revealed, and I realized I didn't, whether individuals need it or not, I didn't give any examples of how I feel that he has been revealed. That individual has been revealed, and not only him, but his entire entourage, um, or coworkers. Well, no, not coworkers. That wouldn't be the right way to say it. No, it's um, well, just associates because you know there was some kind of allegiance to the one that was called Lucifer in the scripture, in Isaiah and a few other places, and Jesus referred to. And so how is that? How is that revealed? How is that brought about? How is that shown? Well, deceit is the number one, I think. When you see people justifying deceit, well, that's another thing that they do. They think, well, you're not going to get the people to see everything that we see, everything that we know needs to happen on this planet by our perspective to try to save ourselves and our species and the elites of that species, and get off this planet and cultivate a new one somewhere. And they have that idea because the next level, those dropout souls know that's how the garden grows. Those are T and those words. They know how the garden grows. But they don't know it. Uh, my opinion is, and I think I could back this up with Tiendo's mind, but if I'm wrong, I hope to realize it. But well, it's the behaviors and ways that are the fruit, right? That's when they say let your fruit be. You can have good fruit or you can have bad fruit. And the good fruit's going to multiply and the bad fruit's going to die and become the fertilizer for the future crop. The negativity, in other words. In order to, of course, negative is relative to a human being's perspective of what's negative. Anyway, that's beside the point. What is the point to this scripture is that see, Revelation 12 doesn't say when that's going to happen, right? But it's with the context of the return that they were anticipating. That as the day of Christ is at hand, he says in the verse before that. And uh, and it still was at that point. In close to its original form. For those that sought it out. Some people, they were not tuning into it. And anyway, I could go on and on about stuff like that, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that the revealing of both Jesus, his kingdom, and the son of perdition, the Antichrist, has and is still happening, has in a big way been happening for years. at least uh, from when Tiendo started to awaken in the early 70s. So I got my water filled up. Oops. But actually, the most significant form of understanding how the son of perdition um, has happened first is because the falling away, I think, would be happening because of that. Because part of the revealing are those that are actually siding with the behaviors and ways of the son of perdition and the other of the associate space alien souls that were with Lucifer. With, when they broke off from the next level structure, the next level instructions. So isn't that interesting that the first thing that Adam was tested with was, well, it might not have been the first one, but was can you follow instructions? That became the number one uh, point on the 17 steps document. Can you follow instructions or do they change according to your computer when you're passing it on to somebody else? Because you're not putting enough effort out. You know, once people learn the behaviors and ways and don't get all offended by, well, okay, you know, I don't want anybody to tell, no one's going to tell me what to do. And yet we're told what to do all the time. Aren't we? I'm still on track in case Kathy happens to tune into this. Well, so I don't know if I covered that. Well, I talked about the falling away as, you know, uh, extending to the New Age religions, the I Am movement and the Realians and the, I don't mean to say that like I'm putting them down. I'm not putting them down. I'm just, well, it's, I guess it's, I've got a, it's just, there's such, they don't know it. It's not like people know that they're being deceitful and manipulative. and that their focus is totally off the track from what the next level has given us. Of course, that's my opinion. Uh, and so that becomes the battle of the religion, right? Terminology and everything, right? And the battle of the spiritualist people with, you know, uh, making God into everybody. Everybody's God. Ye are gods. Because the only thing that separates you from being a God is that you don't think you are. Doubt that you are. So that's where you can take doubt and you can twist it. As if God was a manifestation of a mindset. As simplistic as that. But it sounds good because it elevates us. And that is part of what happens to, well, what seems to happen to people, in my opinion, and I know this could be off, in evolution, to where there's a class of people that accept the responsibilities and gravitate to taking the responsibilities, and they're often uh, trying to satisfy a deficiency within themselves because it's getting more into the human kingdom instead of out of the human kingdom, which is what I believe the next level designed this planet to do. Yeah, I can't really look at the chat room right now. So if anybody does have a question, I'm afraid I'm going to have to just try to answer it. Or I'll do another live stream when I can deal with the chat room, and I'll keep your questions if you have any. Uh, I just came upon somebody that's going 50 miles an hour. Oh no, it's just me who's this car just, just wants to do. I've been way beneath the speed limit. So that's been good. I should have just set the cruise control, but I got lazy. Anyway, I'm 15 miles, 15 minutes it says. So, yeah, so what are the other ways that the son of perdition has been revealed? Well, I would say that um, the world wars was a huge one, to where human life didn't matter. Even the soldiers that were sent to die, they thought that was a worthy way for them to give their service to a greater cause. And I don't, I don't relate that it is. Giving your life for your brother, that's what Jesus talked about, was the greatest love that you can have. So all those individuals that really felt like there was something good to even die for, then they were getting good grades on their report card by the next level, because they were showing that their minds were coming out of their body. Because the body doesn't want to lose the body, but the mind can want to lose the body. And that's why I guess of course, the body can lose the body because of right disease, right? So that little analogy, I guess, doesn't necessarily work. But um, it's like because also, it talked about in Luke that the Son of Man was going to be revealed. Also, it's talking about a time after the Son of Man is revealed. And the Son of Man was revealed, and guess what? T was witness to that, and Doe was witness to who T is, his older member. Think about that. So T was putting Doe on what humans would think was a pedestal by saying he was the return of the same individual that had performed the task of Adam and Enoch and Moses and Elijah and Jesus. And so, and Doe, uh, he fought. Maybe that's not the right way to say it, but he had a lot of difficulty accepting T. Well, maybe that's not the right way to say it. At first, because he was dealing with his vehicle. I mean, I'll give you some examples. Like, T didn't have the vocabulary that Doe had, and the diction, and Doe was very particular about very well spoken, very I mean, if he's very natural at it. And if you listen to him for very long, you're going to find yourself thinking, wow, this guy's something else. And then your influences will, you might say, maybe I believe some of this. And wow, and then you go about your business and your influences and say, you got to be kidding. You believe in that? Nah, no. But then things happen in your life. And you're exposed to it again. So we get many chances to keep on, to ask to be on T and Doe's team. Because they will have requirements of us. But they won't give us anything we can't handle. And they even made a provision for if we think that we can't handle it, because the medicine's too strong, we can ask for the bombardment to be released. I mean, really reduced. And then they do. Now, they do that automatically. Well, not automatically, but they do that as part of our growth. That's why things happen in stages. And they repeat themselves over and over again. And like you can even see the way that earthquakes have been used. And at different times at different strengths, like the earthquakes that happened that caused the tsunamis in Sumatra. And then the volcano eruption, the volcanic eruptions that were escalating. And of course, our measurement tools maybe are getting better, but I don't think that measurement tool is that sophisticated. Well, I could be wrong about that. Yeah, I mean, what kind of a gyroscopic kind of thing? Something fluid probably detects even slight variations. Anyway, just thinking about that a little. But so the revealing started in 1973 or two, which didn't get into the public in a big way until 75. That's the revealing of the Son of Man. As one of the two witnesses. But the more significant, well, not significant, but the more the additional prophecy fulfillment happened in the 90s when Doe started started students making videos, not talking about the next level, and thinking about sending students or one pair of students out to to talk to people. And then when he realized that he needed to be doing it, but not in person, which also satisfies the prophecy that it was 3.5 years, that, it was a short time, in other words, from the next level's perspective, for that they were delivering their prophecy. And if you look at when all the things were written about them, I bet it would be pretty darn close to like 3.5 years. I mean, to where it fluffed off from 1975 to 76 and 7. And the Jonestown thing, I think, was 8. Which would have been a facsimile. By the space alien souls, trying to appear the same, because the story was that people would be leaving their world behind and getting on board a spacecraft with their body. So but they were required to give their entire trust to their older members, and they had to prove that trust over time, because trust isn't something that you automatically have. Well, you do have, you can have a certain amount of it with somebody, but with your life, that takes a lot of trust. Unless you're depressed, and then it doesn't take a lot of trust in anybody else. Well, I guess that's when somebody is trusting themselves. Even Doe said, to reach to the highest source for those that might have felt ready to leave uh, soon after he did. I don't know what that soon word means, actually. I think it was left open-ended because it's meant to be left open-ended. What the heck? Oh, I missed my exit, but it was only a tiny bit. Something alerted me to it. It was a quarter mile past it. Thank goodness. All right, folks, I'm going to sign out.